Away they go then. Final number 1 in the Prince Albert and on Temple Island. Need to get this start right. They've drilled it previously this week. They should be more experienced now. They should be able to deal with the conditions, which have got a little bit easier as the week has gone on. As Greg was saying, it's pretty much perfect conditions today with some sunshine, and there the UL boat shifting along well. We'll have a look at the early margin. It looks like UL may have got out slightly sharper.
Yeah, it does look like UL are taking a small lead here. We saw Tom Cross there in the stroke seat wearing his Hampton School cap. And you can see that just towards the top of the island, it's looking like a strong start. Both these crews went off really nice and straight, as you would expect with the Coxed 4 and coming out of the island. There's normally a little bit of a change when you come out the top of the island. The water's just moving a little bit, but you can see them going through here. Settling out, coming out, lengthening, and you can see they're really coming out around those riggers in the UL boat. Well coached, this crew. It's Hugo Gulliver and Genevieve Belhash-Graham, and they will be in the following boat. Pleased to see them moving out here towards now about 3/4 of a length.
Greg certainly never misses an opportunity to give Hampton School a mention, even if it's as flimsy an excuse as a baseball hat.
Yeah, that was all it took. And looking here at the other side, the Newcastle crew, they will want to try and check this now. This crew, they're coached by the Italian Angelo Severino, and he is a real taskmaster. They've done such hard work. They really put the miles in. Lots and lots of side-by-side, hard, gutsy kind of training, and they're really going to want to try and hang on. They really want to keep this side-by-side so they can really fight for it. But the UL crew, University of London, the far side, really giving them the slip now, coming up towards the barrier.
Well, it's been a superb start to the race. The UL boat shifting along really well on the Berkshire bank, getting a couple of lengths up on Newcastle University, who have been really impressive throughout the week. They've bossed all of their previous rounds, including the semi-final yesterday. They look really good, and you just wonder whether this is a step too far, because UL have forged ahead. This is dream stuff for them. Just put yourself in their shoes for a moment, Greg, in their seats. They'll be thinking, wow, this is all going according to plan. This is exactly what they had in mind.
Yeah, pretty commanding start here. The UL crew, I mean, they've had some tough races. They had to take on Durham University, then they took on Cambridge, then they took on Brooks, where actually the coaches, there's a sibling rivalry in the coaching following launches with Brooks, who we'll talk more about and see more of later, coming up against UL. And they had a good race yesterday, UL winning it by a length before now getting through to this final. Newcastle, on the other hand, has a different journey. Maybe some of their races they had bigger winning margins, but now they've really come up against this strong University of London side.
And we knew it would be strong. They stacked this boat at their very best in this event, UL. And they're showing why they're reaping the dividends now. Newcastle University, who won this in 2017, so that was only a couple of regattas ago, bearing in mind that there was no regatta last year, with work to do. It's tough by this stage. You've done 5 days consecutively. Although you are wiser and perhaps more familiar with the conditions, and tactically you might be shrewder, I'm guessing, Greg. From your experience, 5 days in a row, it's quite unusual.
Yeah, it is unusual. Coming through into the third quarter, you see them just passing 40. This is where you feel it in your legs. If you put together the week of competition, this is where those other races are going to, you're really going to feel it. The UL crew here, like we said, they've had tough races, but they're still moving really nicely together. I mean, in terms of Cox 4, it goes slightly slower than a Coxless 4. You can see just looking there inside the boat, Jasper Cooper coxing it, just tucked inside the bow canvas, and this will be a smooth journey. The rowers are going to be hurting, of course they're going to be hurting, but now's a time for calmness and keeping everything, don't change anything, just keep doing what we're doing, keep the speed up in the third quarter, don't let it drop, and keep it going smoothly.
Isaac Workman, you can see in the bow seat, you can see his back on the right-hand side of the picture there. Henry Miles, Tom Worthington and Tom Cross in the stroke seat. Those four putting together a really excellent race here for the UL boat, and this will be a huge boost for them. Although that said, you've got to credit Newcastle University, because they looked tired, a minute or so ago, and actually they've hung on in there, and if not anything, they've slightly narrowed the gap.
Well, it's real old school Italian training that they do up in Newcastle. Really tough sessions, like I said. They're not afraid of a fight. They're not afraid of really getting stuck into it. they really talked about having a tough lockdown. You know, they were locked down for particularly long up there in the northeast, and yet they were doing these sessions on the ergos. Talked to me about doing 14 1,500 metre pieces, and then getting out of the water when they're on the water doing sort of 10 3Ks side by side. I mean, imagine that, 3Ks 10 times, rating 24 at match dates. I mean, these are incredible kind of sessions, and these are sort of sessions that I guess do give you a different kind of pain tolerance, a different ability to tough it out. But unfortunately for them, despite all of that work, they're 2 lengths down, you can see it, and UL, I think, are just in control now.
So for Newcastle now, the plan has got to be keep UL fighting, keep them honest, keep them working hard to the line, because you just never know what might happen, and particularly with the pressure that surrounds a final at Henley Royal Regatta. For these athletes, they're all pretty young, they're fairly inexperienced, relatively so. You're thinking you've just got to keep the pressure on them, and something strange might happen in this closing couple of 100 metres. You never know. If you're Newcastle, just hang on in there, trying to apply the pressure, but that 2 lengths is extending.
Well, like you say, they're really hoping for something strange to happen now. Newcastle are really trying to put the pressure on, but the University of London crew, they're just going to be able to just have a little satisfied feeling and thinking, right, 1 minute to go to get to the line. This is what we've trained for. We're ready to just keep pressing this out. Looking at the crew there, Isaac Workman, he's in the bow seat. He's actually won the Forley twice with Windsor Boys. We're going to see Windsor Boys later on in the programme today, again in that Forley. So he's not unfamiliar with this feeling. Coming down towards the progress board that we're about to pass now. 10 strokes to the line. UL coming up now in this final of the Prince Albert.
Gun to take lead for UL, who are heading in front of Stewards, and they've only got half a dozen more strokes to wrap up the Prince Albert Challenge Cup. It's the University of London who win the Prince Albert Challenge Cup 2021, really putting it to Newcastle University, who, to give them some credit, hang on in there, but we see the big celebrations of our first finalist winners of 2021, and they belong to the University of London. A really perfect performance from them, away from Temple Island, got a couple of lengths clear, maintain that and win.
Well, you can see how much they pushed themselves. You can imagine how they're feeling that Newcastle, but they know how to hurt themselves. So do these boys from UL, and they took it on. They went out and, like you say, a gun-to-tape lead. Really, really strong performance from UL. Not just physically there, but they just looked so good as a crew together.